The late O.J. Simpson and his late ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, shared a complex, tumultuous relationship that has been under the public eye for decades. Their two children, daughter Sydney Brooke Simpson and son Justin Ryan Simpson, have long been a part of that legacy, even though they've done their best to live low-key, private lives away from the media circus that has surrounded their father ever since his infamous 1995 murder trial. Although O.J. Simpson's life and actions have been highly scrutinized and debated over the years, his family, especially his children, have largely remained out of the spotlight, seemingly choosing a path of privacy and quietude. Sydney Simpson, now 38 years old, has been living a life that is far removed from the glare of the headlines that once followed her family. Born in 1985, Sydney was just 8 years old when her mother, Nicole Brown Simpson, was tragically murdered outside her Brentwood home in Los Angeles in 1994. That murder, followed by the highly publicized O.J. Simpson trial, became one of the most widely watched legal cases in American history. From an early age, Sydney, along with her younger brother Justin, was thrust into a whirlwind of controversy and media attention that no child should ever have to experience. Despite the constant media attention on O.J. and the trials and tribulations surrounding his life, Sydney has chosen a life of relative anonymity. For the past few decades, she has managed to stay under the radar, avoiding the limelight that has followed her father since the infamous trial. In more recent years, Sydney was spotted in St. Petersburg, Florida, where she currently resides. She was seen walking alone, seemingly undetected by the people around her. A small victory for someone who has lived much of her life in the shadow of tragedy and public scrutiny. While her father's name is synonymous with controversy and infamy, Sydney has carved out a life for herself that is far removed from those dark days. Living in St. Petersburg, Sydney has focused on building a normal, quiet life for herself. According to reports, she once worked as an event planner, but has since transitioned into managing her own business. Sydney owns Simpson LLC, a small real estate company through which she manages 3 properties in the city. Despite the notoriety of her family name, she has worked hard to create a life that is independent of the Simpson legacy. Along with her brother Justin, now 35, Sydney seems to have found a sense of peace, focusing on her career and keeping out of the public eye. Justin, for his part, has followed his own path, working as a chef. The siblings have both graduated from college and have managed to lead productive lives, despite the challenges they have faced. For many years, both Sydney and Justin have remained largely silent about their family's past, particularly regarding the brutal murder of their mother and the subsequent trial of their father. However, in more recent years, some insight into Sydney's personal thoughts and feelings about the events of 1994 has come to light, largely through an interview with her ex-boyfriend, Stuart Alexander Lee. Stuart, who dated Sydney from around 2007 to 2012, revealed some details about what Sydney allegedly believes regarding the death of her mother and her father's involvement. In an interview with Radar Online, Stuart Lee provided a rare glimpse into Sydney's private world. He described her as a hardworking and grounded individual, someone who had managed to stay strong despite everything she had been through. "Sydney is a real good girl and she has a good head on her shoulders," Stuart said. "She's not lazy. She works very hard." Lee noted that Sydney was focused on living her life and staying out of the spotlight, even though she was aware of the intense public interest in her family's history. According to Stuart, Sydney had opportunities to share her side of the story with the public, but she was hesitant, fearing the fame and attention that would come with it. "She said fame is a scary thing," Stuart explained. "It's so real to tell your side of the story." Lee also revealed that while Sydney may have shied away from the public eye, she did discuss her mother's murder in private. According to him, Sydney and her brother Justin did not believe their father was responsible for Nicole Brown Simpson's death. "The way she feels, she doesn't feel like he did it," Lee said. "This is a significant revelation, considering the widespread belief among the public that O.J. Simpson was guilty of the crime, despite being acquitted in the criminal trial." While the Simpson children have never spoken out publicly about their views on the trial, Lee's comments suggest that within the family, there may be a different narrative. According to Lee, Sydney and Justin speculated that Nicole Brown Simpson's murder may have been the result of a drug deal gone bad. They, Sydney and Justin, speculate that it was a drug deal gone bad, Lee stated. He went on to say that the gruesome nature of Nicole's murder, with her throat being cut, led them to believe that the crime may have had connections to something more sinister than what was presented during the trial. May she rest in peace, but Nicole's throat was cut like a Colombian necktie, Lee explained. This chilling detail only added to the confusion and pain surrounding the case, leaving Sydney and Justin unsure of what to believe. While Sydney and Justin may not believe that their father was responsible for their mother's murder, Lee pointed out that they still live with the trauma and uncertainty that surrounds the case. "She doesn't know what to believe," Lee said of Sydney. "The media changes and how the police changed the whole situation. Either way, her mother died." For Sydney and Justin, the pain of losing their mother in such a horrific way is something that will likely stay with them for the rest of their lives. While they have moved on in many ways, the shadow of that night in 1994 continues to loom over their family. One of the more surprising revelations from Stuart Lee's interview was the extent to which Sydney and Justin remained connected with their father, even while he was serving time in prison. O.J. Simpson was incarcerated for armed robbery and other charges related to the theft of his own memorabilia in Las Vegas. Despite the legal troubles and public backlash against O.J., Stuart insisted that Sydney and Justin maintained a close relationship with their father. "They all still love him very much," Lee said. "They go out and visit him, and he calls them all the time and they talk together all the time. He's a father. He's a good guy. I don't think he did it." These comments suggest that, despite everything, the bond between O.J. and his children remained strong, even in the face of immense public scrutiny and personal tragedy. Stuart also shared his belief that if Sydney were to speak out about her story, it could be an inspiration to others. "She could be an inspiration to so many people, but she's scared," he explained. He felt that Sydney had the potential to help others who had gone through traumatic experiences, but she was hesitant to step into the spotlight. "Hopefully one day she will speak out," Lee said, expressing his hope that Sydney might one day find the strength to share her story with the world. He described her as hella strong and believed that if she chose to speak out, it could lead to positive change, not only for her, but for others as well. Ultimately, Sydney and her brother Justin have managed to lead productive, successful lives despite the extraordinary challenges they've faced. Their ability to move forward and find their own paths away from the constant media attention is a testament to their strength and resilience. Both Sydney and Justin have chosen to stay out of the public eye, focusing on their careers and personal lives, rather than engaging with the legacy of their father's trial and the controversies that followed him throughout his life. As they continue to process the pain of losing both their parents, first their mother in 1994 and now their father, who passed away in April 2024, Sydney and Justin's journey will undoubtedly continue to be marked by their personal history. The death of O.J. Simpson, even after years of controversy, was a significant moment for the Simpson family. But it is clear that Sydney and Justin have built lives that are independent of their family's infamous past. The story of Sydney and Justin Simpson is one of resilience, perseverance, and a desire for normalcy in the face of extraordinary adversity. While their father's legacy may forever be tied to one of the most infamous murder trials in American history, Sydney and Justin have chosen a different path, one that allows them to live their lives quietly and on their own terms. As they continue to navigate their lives, one can only hope that they will find peace and happiness, despite the weight of their family's history. As Sydney Simpson continues to live her life in St. Petersburg, managing her properties and focusing on her career, and as Justin pursues his own passions as a chef, it is heartening to see that they have been able to lead productive and progressive lives. Despite the cloud of controversy that has followed their family, Sydney and Justin have shown remarkable strength in moving forward, and their continued success is a testament to their resilience. We wish them all the best as they continue to heal from the tragedies of their past and build brighter futures for themselves. As time moves on, the legacy of O.J. Simpson continues to stir both fascination and controversy, but Sydney and Justin have actively chosen to distance themselves from the spotlight that follows their family name. The shadow of their father's legal battles and public persona could have easily consumed their lives, yet they've managed to lead independent lives, focused on their personal goals rather than their family's past. In a world that constantly seeks to define them by their parentage, the siblings have quietly but steadfastly carved out their own identities. For Sydney, this meant choosing a life of relative obscurity, especially when compared to the high-profile lifestyle her father led. After the trial, Sydney and Justin were kept out of the media as much as possible, especially during their formative years. Nicole Brown Simpson's family, particularly her sister, Denise Brown, played an integral role in raising them after Nicole's death, and both families worked hard to shield the children from public scrutiny. However, as Sydney grew older, she demonstrated a desire to step further away from the public's gaze. She attended Boston University, where she earned a degree in sociology. After graduating, she lived in Atlanta, Georgia for a time before eventually relocating to St. Petersburg, Florida. In Florida, Sydney has maintained a low profile, keeping her personal life private and staying out of the headlines, despite the public's continued interest in her father's legacy. Her decision to stay under the radar could very well be seen as an attempt to escape the relentless media coverage and judgment that have followed her family. Sydney's choice to focus on real estate and manage properties in St. Petersburg reflects her desire for a normal, stable life, something she likely craved after the chaos of her early years. Living in a world that continues to dissect every aspect of O.J. Simpson's life, from his time as a football player to his legal battles, Sydney has managed to build a life where she is defined by her own achievements, rather than her family's notoriety. Justin Simpson, too, has taken a quieter path. Like his sister, Justin graduated from college, but instead of pursuing a career in real estate, he found his passion in the culinary arts. Currently working as a chef, Justin has largely stayed out of the public eye as well, choosing to focus on his craft and live a more peaceful existence. The fact that both siblings have managed to lead productive lives speaks volumes about their ability to overcome the trauma and turmoil of their childhood. What makes their journey so remarkable is that they have had to navigate their lives with the ever-present specter of their mother's murder and their father's public trial looming over them. The murder of Nicole Brown Simpson is one of the most infamous crimes in modern American history, and the subsequent trial of O.J. Simpson, the so-called trial of the century, captivated the nation. Millions of people tuned in to watch the courtroom drama unfold, and for years, O.J. Simpson's guilt or innocence was the subject of heated debates in the media, in public discourse, and in personal conversations. For Sydney and Justin, growing up in the aftermath of such a high-profile tragedy must have been incredibly difficult. Not only did they have to come to terms with the loss of their mother in the most horrific way, but they also had to navigate the complex feelings surrounding their father's trial and acquittal. While O.J. Simpson was found not guilty in the criminal trial, he was later found liable for the wrongful deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman in a civil trial, further complicating the narrative of his innocence. This conflicting outcome must have made it even more challenging for Sydney and Justin to process their emotions and the public's perception of their family. In private, Sydney and Justin seem to have developed their own understanding of the events surrounding their mother's death. According to Sydney's ex-boyfriend, Stuart Lee, both siblings speculate that their mother's murder may have been the result of a drug deal gone bad. While this theory is purely speculative, it demonstrates the complex emotions Sydney and Justin have about the case and the media frenzy that followed. It also highlights the fact that, despite their father's acquittal, they still live with the uncertainty and trauma of losing their mother in such a violent and public manner. Stuart Lee's revelation that Sydney does not believe her father was responsible for her mother's death provides a rare insight into her personal beliefs. The fact that Sydney and Justin have maintained a close relationship with their father, even visiting him while he was incarcerated, suggests that they hold on to a different narrative than the one presented by the media. According to Stuart, Sydney struggled with the pressure to speak out about her story, even though she knew it could be an inspiration to others. Her reluctance to engage with the media, despite numerous requests for interviews and public appearances, speaks to her desire to protect her privacy and distance herself from the legacy of her father's trial. Sydney's ex-boyfriend also shared that O.J. Simpson remained an active father figure in Sydney and Justin's lives, even while he was behind bars. He described how the siblings visited him frequently and maintained regular communication with him, suggesting that, despite the public perception of O.J., he continued to play a positive role in their lives. Stewart's comments about O.J. being a good father from behind bars provide a more humanizing view of the man who has been vilified in the media for decades. While many may view O.J. through the lens of the criminal accusations and his legal battles, it's clear that to his children, he was simply their father, a man who continued to care for and love them, even from a distance. For Sydney and Justin, the decision to maintain a relationship with their father, despite the public controversy surrounding him, is deeply personal. It's a reminder that for all the public attention their family has received, their personal relationships remain complex and multifaceted. While the media may focus on OJ's trial and his legal troubles, for Sydney and Justin, their father is not just a figure of controversy. He is the man who raised them, loved them, and supported them through their most difficult times. The death of O.J. Simpson in April 2024 marked the end of a long, tumultuous chapter for the Simpson family. O.J. quote, "CS passing came nearly 30 years after the infamous trial that had come to define his life and legacy." For Sydney and Justin, the loss of their father is another layer of grief to process as they continue to live with the trauma of their mother's murder. In many ways, O.J.'s death may bring them a sense of closure, allowing them to fully step out from under the shadow of their family's past and continue building lives that are independent of the Simpson legacy. Sydney and Justin's ability to lead productive, low-key lives despite everything they've endured is a testament to their strength and resilience. They have not allowed the controversy surrounding their parents' lives to define them, choosing instead to focus on their own personal and professional growth. For Sydney, managing her real estate properties in St. Petersburg represents her independence and success. For Justin, working as a chef allows him to pursue his passion and live a life far removed from the public eye. Their decision to stay silent about their family's past may frustrate those who are still fascinated by the O.J. Simpson trial, but it is ultimately a personal choice, one that allows them to protect their peace and maintain a sense of normalcy. While the world may never fully know what Sydney and Justin think about their father's trial or their mother's murder, what is clear is that they are determined to live their lives on their own terms. In the end, the story of Sydney and Justin Simpson is one of survival. They have survived the tragedy of their mother's murder, the media circus that followed, and the ongoing scrutiny of their father's life and actions. Despite the challenges they faced, they have found a way to move forward, building lives that are meaningful and fulfilling. As they continue to navigate life without their parents, one can only hope that they will find peace and happiness, free from the weight of their family's complicated legacy. Their journey serves as a reminder that, while the world may be fascinated by the public drama surrounding the Simpson family, the real story is one of two individuals who have managed to rise above the chaos and build lives that are defined by their own choices, not the choices of their parents. In a world that is quick to judge and speculate, Sydney and Justin have chosen to stay quiet, focus on their own paths, and live lives that are a testament to their resilience and strength.